So we're here today with Josh Rachita, Jar Forge, right? On Instagram. Josh is a dear friend of mine, and he is passing through Tennessee on his way back from an internship, summer internship. I can say this right.
Yeah.
At Colonial Williamsburg, at the blacksmith shop, the Anderson Forge at Colonial Williamsburg. If you don't know what the Anderson Forge is, YouTube it real quick. Look at the Anderson Forge. It's really cool. Some of the best blacksmithing in the country. I'm not biased at all, but anyway. And so Josh and I are talking 18th century ironwork and blacksmithing, and Josh is fixing to show me how to make a tasting spoon. I've actually never made a real spoon. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. So what? So this is it. This is what we're making.
So this is a tasting spoon that I made this summer from a existing design that they took from a period piece in their collections there. But it's a nice wide bowl. So when you're making soup and you're going to taste it, it's going to cool off quickly. So it's not very deep. The handle was white smithed. You can tell it's kind of already started to rust again and develop a patina. But you often see that on 18th century cookware. Anything that's being held in your hand is often going to be filed bright, so it develops a nice smooth texture. It develops a brilliant silver color on the surface initially. One of my biggest realizations this summer is how thin a lot of this material gets. So certainly on things like door pulls, taking that down to flat sheet, it's a lot thinner than a lot of people expect. So this is just 1/4 by 1, but you're getting almost a full 3 inches in spread from it. So when you're doing the next step here, you're going to be using the peen of the hammer to stretch it out. So you want to take, a rectangle here because it'll expand left to right more than it does front to back. You can see I kind of boogered that end up, so I can hit down here and kind of use the sharp edge to clean it up. So because this is circular, and I'm going to be spreading out this way, I don't want any more mass on either side here. So I'll actually thin that down so it'll give you that natural circular shape.
I got you. So you're gonna thin it on both ends, thin it in thickness so that you have more mass in the middle.
Right.
And it'll come out.
Right.
So it's a circle. Yeah. Cool.
So I'll come in here just a little bit because as I hit down here, it's going to widen anyway. So just about there. And then here on the back, I'll do the same. And I'm not really trying to create a shoulder. And I've always had trouble getting material back in this corner, so I'm not going to take those corners down at all. Some people do, but it seems to be challenging for me. So I'll start in the middle here and just kind of divide that mass up. So I'm going to take this at more of a lower heat because it'll keep it from deforming. But I'm just trying to clean up either corner. And what this tells me is I really should address those at the beginning to make them a little bit more round. So I can kind of clean up both this back shoulder here and up front at the same time by sticking it over the edge here. And you can see, by doing that, I guess I kind of push that up. So that's an example of what you don't want, where that angle is a lot shallower than 90 degrees. I can do some work to pull that back out. Just light ones. A little lighter. Little one. Okay.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah. So we're going to do some filing now just to rough out this profile. So there's still some forge work to be done, but it's going to be a lot easier to get that forge work accurate if this is closer to perfect circle, if this is a little bit cleaner. So we're just going to do some rough profiling at the moment. So you see how it's kind of at a slight angle right there?
Yep.
It probably could be just a little bit better or cleaner in that area, but the 90-degree angle is going to be in the center right here.
You just want to visualize a perfect circle.
Right.
Right.
That's something that Ken told me to do because I was laying it out with compasses and trying to get a perfect circle, and he said you're never going to sit it exactly right in the center, so once you file it perfect, it's still going to look lopsided. But if you do it to your eye, then no matter what, it's still going to look good. So another thing you can do...
Wow, wait a second. Somehow that needs to be like on a t-shirt somehow. It's like, you do it by eye, it's always going to look good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So for the spoon, we need a dish shape. And so you often have a hollow form called a swage in which that you hammer that material down into to give a nice smooth bowl. This one here is a little bit too small for this size spoon, and so it's going to get hung up on these edges. It's also not very deep either. So Jordan over here is working on making one in wood. It's not going to burn right away. The sheet is super, super thin, so it's not going to really cause an issue. And the wood is plenty hard enough to back up and give you that dish shape.
Also, it works better. It's harder to carve, but it works better in the end grain, on the end of a piece of wood than on the side. The end grain holds up better.
Makes sense.
It's denser and tougher and whatever. So the tool I'm using is not necessarily one everybody has in their shop, but it's a bowl adze. This is an antique one that someone sent me from Germany, and it's all hand forged. Okay, overall, what do you think? I'm going to clean it up around the edges a little bit.
I think that's good.
So pretty.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Don't want to make the mic go up.
It's been singed a few times.
Okay. I'm going to call that good on the bowl. So that's it for the forging. So what we're doing here is called planishing. You can tell that this surface right here, that texture is a lot rougher. That's as forged as opposed to this area right in here, which I planished earlier. So we're going over it cold with a much smaller hammer and a planishing stake right here. We actually just made this, so in the next video you'll get to see the how we made that. So please tune into that. But I'm just going over here this kind of round dome and hammering out any inconsistencies, breaking the scale off. And it's imperative that it's a nice dome so it'll keep that form, that hollow form, which we just made in the swage. Here you go. Oh.
Very nice. Very nice. I'll take it.
All right. The steak really did the trick.
So we made the tool and we made the spoon.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. Very nice. And I get to keep this for making my own.
Yeah.
Well, let's go see if supper's ready to taste
Let's do it.
with our tasting spoon. Travis, do you think there's any supper to taste with our tasting spoon?
No.
No! Well, let's go find out. You coming?
No.
He's stubborn.